Does your chance of illness or disease go down any? Of course, that's what causes it. You get rid of the cause, you get rid of the disease, okay? So what we're really doing, we're getting rid of illness and disease, either now or in the future in your life. That's what we're doing. And so what these techniques do, and I can't say I know how they do them, but a lot of people don't know this either. In the physician's desk reference, every medical doctor's Bible that's about this thick, and it has all the medications, all the symptoms, all the surgeries, stuff like that. About 40%, according to Dr. Ben Johnson, about 40% of every medication in the world that's in the PDA says mechanism of action unknown. Meaning we can prove what it does, but we don't know, or we're not sure how it does it. It's exactly the same with the healing codes and the memory code. We can prove what it does with heart rate variability medical test, and we have done that. The 19 double-blind studies prove that that's called proof, all right? So what we're doing is we're removing the thing that's filling you up with stress, which means the stress will go down, which means your present or future illnesses and diseases will either not happen or they'll heal.
Thank you. How do we stop worrying about money, relationships, the future, anything that keeps us in a state of worry?
I'm not sure you can with just meditation. I'm all for meditation. I meditate every day, have for years, but I'm not sure you can just with meditation and stuff like that because of what I said before. These memories that are causing the stress are literally protected by your unconscious mind. They are guarded from being healed or changed because they are connected to your survival instinct, and they serve as an early warning defense system against a life-threatening emergency. Now, a lot of that is in error, but it is still held that way in your unconscious in error. That's why we've got to get it from error to correct. And when you do that, the stress goes down.
Thank you. Of all of your techniques, which should someone start with in order to have the most progress possible in the fastest amount of time?
I think it depends. Some of it is personality. If you're more left brain oriented, and I know I'm reversed on the camera, so this looks right to you guys, but it's left to me. If you're more left brain, the healing codes tend to work really well for people who are kind of linear in their thinking and personality. 1 + 1 = 2, whatever. I like to go by the rules. What are the rules? Give me the instructions. If you're more right brain, go with the flow, a little more mellow, a little more out of the box. Those people tend to like the memory code a lot. It's coming at the problem in a way that they enjoy doing. Okay. And the healing codes is typically kind of that way for more left brain people. So, but the healing codes is always a good place to start. It was the original. A lot of the 19 studies are on it and the benefits of it. There have not been double-blind studies on the memory code. I want to be clear about that. Those are on the healing code and trilogy. But I did test the memory code with heart rate variability and stuff. So that's basically how I would answer, but you can really start with either one.
Okay. And speaking about the techniques, are the techniques, for the healing code, are they all very similar? Are they all sort of permutations of touching yourself in certain places?
Yeah, in the back of the manual, it comes with like a 250-page manual, a bunch of videos, a bunch of audios, stuff like that. In the back of the manual, there's an index in alphabetical order with 485 possible problem issues. You go find your issue. There'll be a page number beside that. You go to the page number, and it will have the specific sequence to heal the source of that issue. You do it until it gets better. Then you go back to the back, find the one that's now bothering you the most. Do it till it gets better, and just keep doing that.
Thank you. And the memory code, is that the same kind of?
Oh, the memory code is you start with what's bothering you. And then it's a 6-step process based on how you're feeling right now and what is bothering you. And it's very simple. You could teach a 10-year-old in about 10 minutes how to do the memory code. But no, it is not, it doesn't have anything to do with this. It's a totally different process coming from a different angle.
Great, thank you. And what are your thoughts on prayer? Does prayer work in helping people, either the person doing the prayer or the other person receiving it?
Yeah. Prayer is one of the most important things in my life. I believe in it with all my heart. I believe in God. I believe in prayer. Larry Dossey, MD, in his wonderful book, Reinventing Medicine, cites a number of double-blind studies done on prayer that had absolutely mind-boggling results. People laying in hospitals, and they don't even know they're being prayed for. And all the ones being prayed for get better. All the ones not being prayed for don't or get worse. I mean, it's such a dramatic difference. It's almost hard to believe it's real, but it is, and replicated. So yes, I believe in, I would say, if you believe in the spiritual, if you believe there's a spiritual dimension, a spiritual reality, and about 98% of people do based on surveys, you should believe in prayer. Prayer is the activation of the spiritual.
Thank you. So how do you get rid of deep-seated guilt?
Yeah, you could just put a blank there. How do you get rid of? And it's all the same. You do the process for that thing. It's in the manual that took us years to develop. That's what you do. If you're doing the memory code, you do the 6-step, 10-minute memory code process on guilt. Okay. But I will say guilt and shame are the two biggest issues I've dealt with with over 30 years. They're the top two. Now, pain is the biggest issue, but guilt is pain. Shame is pain. But as far as emotional issues, guilt and shame are at the top of the list.
Thank you. Can you explain about memory engineering? I believe you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you want me to explain. It's a book. It's a home study program you can get. It's 6 steps. You start with a problem, and you start with your current memory related to that problem. And then you do 6 steps that change your current memory. That's it.
And what would we see in a change of memory? Let's say you had a traumatic memory that maybe we kind of persevered and you couldn't get out of your head. What, or memories that perhaps created a narrative that made you feel negative emotions about yourself. What would that change look like? Would it just be like gone, or would it be replaced with a new story or narrative? Or new memory?
Yeah, basically all it does is pull the untruth out. In every memory that causes a problem, there's a lie or falsehood in every one of them. And it's typically the interpretation, not the event itself. In other words, because my dad hit me when I was 12 years old, and while he was hitting me, said, "Alex, you're never going to amount to anything." You think that caused any problems in my life after that? Oh man, it ruled the next 15 years of my life. Happened when I was like 10, 12 years old. It really happened. He started hitting me over and over, not with his fist, with his open hand, but hitting me over and over for about probably a minute and a half, seemed like a year. And while he was doing it, he was yelling at me, Alex, you're never going to amount to anything. Alex, you're never going to amount to anything. All right. Well, the problem with that memory was not him hitting me. The problem in the memory was not him saying I would never amount to anything. Were those problems? Yeah, but they weren't the big problem. The big problem is that I believed it.
Okay.
My interpretation was because Dad said that, and Dad was my hero at the time and was never wrong, because Dad said that, I'm never going to amount to anything. Well, years later, when I had the tools and was able to heal that, the way it was changed is I now had compassion for my dad because I knew the reason he did that, he had just found out he was going to have to have open heart surgery back in the early days of open heart surgery when you were never the same again. And he was in horrible fear and anger and my life as I know it is over. And I just happened to be there when he snapped. Okay. So after it healed, that's what I believe. Yeah, he hit me. Yeah, he said that, but it had nothing to do with me. It was about the pain he was going through. And I felt compassion and love for him and forgiveness and all of that. And then I felt released from that event that I'd felt kind of enslaved to all that time before that. Okay. And like the popsicle lady I told you about in New York, the thing that changed for her, the biggest thing by far, after she healed, she did go through the roof, by the way, on Wall Street, got the promotion, became the mover and shaker, got a huge raise, all of that. But that wasn't the biggest thing. She said the biggest thing is from my childhood, my mom and I had always been in conflict. And I never knew why. She was not mean to me. I never could make sense of it. But then after she realized about that memory and we worked on it and she healed it, she said it all went away. And she and her mom were able to reconcile and became closer than they'd ever been. And she said that was an unexpected, huge gift to her, that closeness that she'd really never had, that she remembered with her mother. And it benefited her year after year after that, became one of the biggest, most important things in her life. So yes, the memory will change. And it's usually your interpretation of what happened.